Now in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. The angel of the Lord declared unto Mary, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Behold the handmaid of the Lord. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. And the Word was made flesh. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Pray for us, the Holy Mother of God. Let's pray, pour forth to beseech thee, O Lord, thy grace into our hearts, that we to whom the incarnation of Christ, thy Son, was made known by the message of an angel, may by his passion and cross be brought to the glory of his resurrection through the same Christ our Lord. May the divine assistance remain always with us, and may the souls of the faithful departed to the mercy of God rest in peace. Amen. And Father, Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So good evening to you all. You're all very welcome. And Olive Shaughnessy will be speaking to us again on the subject of cancer, a personal story. She's from Loughrea in County Galway, and we have her mother with us as well. And the aunt and uncle are still with us, are they? Yeah. And so she's also written a book, and it's entitled My Olive Branch, My Second Chance, and that will be available afterwards. So I'll hand you over straight away. We were listening to this morning, and all I can say is you won't be bored and you won't fall asleep.
Thank you, Father. I hope I won't let them down now. And I'm going to bring my book with me because I'm a little bit scatty with the brain. I had number 78 chemo last Tuesday. It's a trial run I'm on at the moment, but it affects my brain a little bit, so I could run off with the conversation and you won't know what I'm talking about. So I'll stay focused till I'm here about the book. First of all, I want to thank sincerely to be invited to do this novena, because it really means an awful lot to me. I got a little tattoo a couple of years ago, and it's called Faith and Family, and then I was so honoured to be asked to do this novena because it's faith and family, and it's really what I'm all about, and what keeps me alive is my family and my faith. I also want to welcome my cousins and my aunt and her friend and my mum, and I want to thank, like I said, all of you people for coming, because it means a lot. I find a lot of healing through people. I live by the 3 Ps. Prayer, positive thinking, and people is what keeps me going. I love people, and I've always loved people. I worked with disadvantaged young people for 14 years, and I loved it. It was never like work. I absolutely loved my job, and I feel it's a great honour, as my cousin said, spreading the love and trying to give a bit of hope to people, because everybody needs a little bit of hope. We were sitting at the 3 o'clock Mass, and we were looking around, and we were saying, it is wonderful to see so many people at Mass. The religion is still there. I was asked to go to the school in Loughrea there a couple of weeks ago to do a well-being week, and I couldn't get over the kids. Of course, I walked in and said, don't worry about the leaving cert, and I could see all the teachers going, what the hell did we bring this one in for? I just said, don't worry, there's a lid for every pot, and everyone will get on grand in life, and not to be worrying about leaving cert. I think the young people have enough to be worrying about. But it was a great honour to be asked to speak there, and I just think that there's so many good stories out there, and we're not hearing them. So many people are surviving cancer now. I met a man that's my neighbour, and I didn't even know him, and he's 18 years getting treated for cancer, and I didn't even know that. And we hear so much doom and gloom. There's enough of it. We need a little bit of hope, and we need a little bit of, I suppose, opening your heart. People, I told this morning, and a lot of people nodded. When I go into chemotherapy every 3 weeks, instead of people talking, everybody's on their phone. Everybody, at every age, they're all on their phone. And I'm thinking, we're all in the same boat, and to talk is great. As you can see, I'm a terrible talker. My husband have to check his ear pulse at times, because he never gets a word in edgewise. But I just offered them, I always say, can I get anyone a cup of tea? And then some people say, yeah, I'd love a cup of tea. And then we start to talk, and I have met the nicest of people by doing that. I was in there 6 weeks ago, and I had to get 8 injections into the spine after the chemotherapy. And my husband picked me up. It sounds awful, but I didn't mind at all, because I said I'd drink petrol to keep myself alive. And I came out smiling, and Tom said, I can't understand you, and what the hell is my lad coming out from chemo? And I said, I had the nicest day, and I'd met the loveliest of people. Even actually a girl from chemotherapy was here today. I was delighted to see her. I met her ages ago, and I'd know the faces, but people are just so kind. And I have to tell you a wonderful story that you didn't hear this morning. I was in chemo about 6 months ago, and this lovely little girl came in. She was about 17 years of age, and as I said, she was like the poster child for cancer. She was not a rib of hair on her head. She had a blanket around her and she was shivering. And I was really upset seeing her now, because you don't like to see any young person with cancer. You don't like to see anybody with cancer. But her mother walked in, and of course Olive went over with a cup of tea. This cup of tea is a great thing. I went over with the cup of tea and I said, can I get you anything? And she said, no. She said, and I said, how are you getting on? And I told her my story, and the tears were running down her face. I see, God gives you the cross you can carry. Do you know, I felt my story wasn't sad at all when I was listening to her story. And she was saying, I don't know how you get up in the morning knowing you have stage 4 cancer with 4 small children. But I said, sure, I have no more guarantee than anybody else going to bed tonight. What mother in Ireland knows she's going to bed tonight with her kids? I might have a label over my head with cancer, but it doesn't mean that it's going to kill me. And I mean, there's a lot of people, God bless us, that didn't think to be gone before me. Life is strange. You have to just enjoy every day and make the most of it. Hello. You're grand. Better late than never. You didn't miss the start of the story. I haven't started yet. I'm telling a story about somebody else. This lovely little girlie, anyway, her mother was saying that, first of all, her husband got prostate cancer. They dealt with that. The mother got breast cancer. They dealt with that. They lost the only son they had on a road traffic accident, and now their little 17-year-old girlie was going through chemotherapy. And I was saying, I found it hard to look at her. I said, I don't know how you get up in the morning at all. But she said, you take one day at a time, and we're getting on with it. So anyway, when we were leaving, I just said to her, I told her about the book, and I said, look, you can light the fire with the book if you want, but I'm going to get you the book and let you read it, and we'll just stay in contact. And when I went in the following 3 weeks, the girl that takes us in the morning, she goes, oh God, Olive, she said, they finished up last week, they were called in early, they're not coming back here. She's finished her chemo. And I said, God, I have the book here for her now, and I wrote her a letter, and she said, give it here to me, I'll post it to them. So I was actually in Athlone with my cousin when I got the text message to say that she had got the book and that they had really enjoyed it, and thank you very much for thinking of us. But I was just going into Mass at 3 o'clock today when I got the message from the mother. She'd got her leaving cert. So I was delighted, so I'm going to go and get a Mass card now for them and send it. But I tell you, I don't cry very often, but the tears came to my eyes because it was such a lovely thing today, above all days, to get that message from that little girlie. So I really wish her well. And cancer is no friend, but it opens your eyes to an awful lot of things. We can get very blindsided, and we're only human beings, and I do it myself, but we can get very bogged down in very small, trivial things, and we have to kind of take off the blinkers and just see what life is about. We're all the same. We're all breathing the same air. We're all going to go to bed tonight, please God. We're all going to, please God, wake up in the morning. But the most important thing is to be grateful for it. When I get up in the mornings now, I could be up at 5, out painting rocks. I'm just a little bit I can't get enough things done in my time. But I have to say every morning, whether it's raining or snow, and I say, thanks be to God, I'm alive. Thank you. I really got a second chance. I absolutely did. It was the 19th of December 2014 when I went and picked up my 3 oldest from school and their 2 little friends. I'd done this as tradition for all down through the years. When they finished for Christmas holidays, I'd bring them in to the cinema. And we used to go into the cinema and get something to eat and go home. But this particular 19th of December, I left Kevin, my little baby, into my mum at 2 o'clock. He was 2 at the time. We left him in that morning, picked up the kids at 12:30, 5 little children in the car, sang the whole way into Galway. It was picture perfect. It really was the most beautiful day. We went into the cinema. They watched Paddington Bear. I was texting my cousin and my friend in London and drinking me coffee. And there wasn't a lot of me. Now, I had ran 30 minutes on the treadmill that morning. I was as fit as a fiddle. I was half the size as this, and I was as fit as a fiddle. And I watched everything I ate. And I didn't smoke, and I didn't drink anymore. When I had the kids, I stopped drinking. I didn't go out anymore. So I was living a good life. I wasn't doing anything too bad, I don't think, anyway. Never in a million years did I think cancer would come to our door. Never in a million years. And only before I broke the neck, I would think I would have questioned, did they get it wrong? But I mean, I had the neck broke, I couldn't question it. What happened was, we came out of the cinema, and John, my oldest, said, Mammy, can we go as far as Home Store and more? And that's how I know that God was with me. I was about to hop into his Jeep with 5 young children. The doctor told me that out of the 7 vertebrae on my neck, you can see a picture of it actually, I wasn't meant to take the picture, but I took a picture of the x-ray. There was 7 vertebrae and 4 of them had rotted away with cancer. and my neck, they were completely gone. He said my neck was ready to roll off my shoulders. So I would have had that car accident out on the motorway, and God knows the damage I would have done. I dread to think about it. So I said I should be on my hands and knees every single day, thanking God. A gentleman asked me this morning, when was the point when I was angry? I was never angry. I couldn't be angry. I got a second chance. God minded me without a shadow of a doubt. There's no doubt about it. He was with me because my kids were with people that were safe. I fell down, just fell back. I don't remember anything. I just remember looking at Christmas baubles. I must have been seeing double vision. I didn't know whether there was 6 in it or 12 in it. That's the only memory I have. And then the curtains came down and I remember no more. Woke up in UCHG with my kids, thank God we're gone home at this stage, and Tom was beside the bed. Now Tom at the time was working up in Dublin 4 days a week, hated it. I didn't know he hated it. He said, be careful what you wish for, because he was always wishing he didn't have to go up to Dublin. It was only for a few months, but he'd go at 4:30 on a Monday morning. He'd work 12-hour days, so he could get back to us on a Thursday evening. The poor devil. But anyway, he hated Dublin, and next thing, now he's not working at all. Well, we're doing a bit of farming, but he's my full-time carer now, so you have to be careful what you wish for, he said. But he came home, the battery was gone on the phone, as it happens when you need it, so he didn't know what the whole commotion was. He got the word that I had fallen down, so he was thinking, she must have fell. But you see, I didn't fall, the neck broke, and I went down. I didn't break the neck, it was from the cancer. So he got to the hospital, and all I remember was saying to him, oh my God, I'm in such pain. I hope to God to finish me off now. That's an awful statement, but I did say that. I was in excruciating pain, but there was a blood vessel going in my head as well at the time. I mean, I'm a walking miracle really to be alive. And then Professor Currans brought me into a room, and he said, Olive, your neck is broke. And I said, I know that. And he said, your bones are full of holes. And I said, well, I don't understand what you mean by that. And he said, I'm 99.9% sure that you've cancer. Now, even like Father Turn said it this morning, you'd think you'd have a reaction, but my reaction when you said that this morning was the very same. You'd think, you go, oh my God, I didn't have that reaction. Strangely enough, I didn't. And I can't describe the reaction I had, but I've always felt very safe. That's one word I've always used, which is kind of a strange one with the word cancer in the sentence. I've always felt very safe and very minded. I know God is beside me. I have no doubt at all. People are constantly praying for me. I have been very, very well. The last 4 years has been harder, I think, and I didn't mention this morning till after. It's very hard on the spouse, and it's very hard on the person that's caring for you. And I think they're the ones that need prayers more so than me, because I have the luxury of the hospital being so good to me. They're fantastic in UCHG. They're absolutely wonderful. I had Christmas in there. I had my 40th birthday in there, and they were probably the happiest. Maybe not Christmas now, but my birthday was lovely because I had all the real Mackays around the bed, and the nurses were lovely. Christmas Day was hard, being away from my children, but they done up the room for me, and they had Santi come to the room. They were just fantastic, and I was very lucky because I knew the doctor that operated on me, and I have to mention him because I always say he keeps me alive. He walked in by accident into UCHG that night, and he seen my name up on the counter, up on the wall, and he said, what's Olive doing in here? I know that girl. And they told him, and he walked in, he said, don't go to Dublin. He said, I'll do the operation. So he operated on me from 9 o'clock on St. Stephen's Day. Now he's 4 children himself, instead operating on me till 5:30 that evening. And I'll be forever grateful for that, because he didn't have to do that for me. And he has a family himself, and that was a really hard time when you get the word that you have cancer on the 19th of December, to have to wait that long, and they can't do any treatment on you till your neck is fixed. So I had to wait that length. So that's where family and friends were brilliant. They kept me going. My poor husband and my mother found it very hard Christmas Day. And when they came in Christmas evening, they were sorry they didn't come in earlier, because it was the happiest, most jolliest place. I was in top form the whole day Christmas Day. The morphine probably did help as well. I was out doped to the eyes on morphine. But no, it's been a real eye-opener to life, I have to say. And then I had a little kind of a miracle. Well, it was a full miracle to me. When I was on the operating table, I felt I was somewhere where everything made sense. Now, I find it very, very hard to explain that to people, because I didn't see a man with the beard. I just know that this place was somewhere with great clarity, and everything in life just seemed to be making sense. And I just kept saying, oh my God, oh my God. I remember saying it. And then all of a sudden, I had a huge pair of boxing gloves. I mean, massive. And a small little pin was my hand. And every time I moved the pin, the whole boxing glove would move. This is the memory I had when I came back. And what I've thought about it since is that God was telling me that I have a huge battle on my hands, and though I may be small, that I can do it, I can fight it. So my friend Edel came in a couple of days later. Instead of a get well card, she had boxing gloves for me, a pair of red boxing gloves with "You can do it" on it. Very strange. And all the doctors admired them and they said, isn't it nicer than coming with the Lucozade and the grapes to get the actual boxing gloves? And the kids get everything, but they don't get the boxing gloves. I absolutely love them. They mean an awful lot to me. I know I'm rabbiting on. Does anybody want to direct maybe a question to me that I can answer? Because sometimes I start talking and I'm not a bit precious. You can ask me anything. I'll answer any way that I can. But if anyone had something that they wanted to talk about, then maybe we could conversate. If anyone had a question or something, I just think it's nice to open it up. Yes. Yes, I can. Yes, I'd love to tell you about that actually. They put me back together basically. I'm all braced and have rods and every single thing. There's actually a picture in the book how they done it. Kind of like, what do you call them, pull ties that they use in cars. Have them, yeah. So they done that operation. So when I woke up then, I couldn't move. I had to move the whole head. That's the way I was going. But I didn't want to stop driving, so I said I have to be able to drive my kids to school. So whatever way you fix me, let me be a little bit mobile. So as I said this morning, I thought I was a great help. I used to get up in the morning and have my shower before the nurses came in, and my neck wasn't even fixed. And I thought I was great helping them out. But sure, if I had fallen, I was going to do more damage. Do you know? But anyway, when I had the operation, I was very lucky. They told me 2 weeks to recovery before they do the chemotherapy. But 10 days, I was ready to go. I'd broken a record, and I thought I'd never bring the chemo up. I actually said to them, well, I go down and get it myself. And they were saying, you have to wait. So the poor girl, there was 2 days of chemotherapy. They start you off very slowly. And the poor girlie came in, and they're like, I don't know, but please God, none of you will ever have to have it, but they have to have these suits on with the chemotherapy, these big blue suits. And of course I was talking, and next thing a bit of chemo spilt on my hand. Now it was my own fault. I shouldn't have been talking to her. But the hand got bigger and the redness got bigger. It's lethal, like. My hand got redder and redder and redder and redder. Next thing they were coming in measuring it, and all the doctors were coming looking at it, and I was saying, oh God almighty, I hope I didn't get this girl into trouble. It is serious stuff what they put into you, there's no doubt about it. So I was saying, there's nothing to this chemo. The second day, there was a lot to the chemo. It was really difficult. Now, the active treatment is very, very hard, no more than the radiotherapy. So with the neck then, it took a while. People are great huggers, and I love the hugs. And poor Mammy was always saying, oh, be careful of the neck. But he said I could go headbanging. There was no way this neck was going to move. He said, you're drilled and you're put together so well. But all of a sudden, about a year later, I started getting very stiff in the neck again and not feeling great. And I went into the hospital, and he said, I don't know how you done it, Olive, but there's 2 screws broke. We're going to have to fix the 2 screws. And I said, Lord God, it would only happen to me. But now, out of the blue, then he said, you're doing very well. He said, I think I can remove some of the rods. So actually, some of the rods were removed. So I have actually an awful lot more flexibility than I had. Which was a real miracle. My poor sister was delighted. She was ringing. I said, you make the phone calls now, Lisa. She's 13 years younger than me, and I was so happy for her because she started to cry. And I said, you ring home now, and I said, you give them the good news. But Lisa went on the phone, and she was saying, the bones are growing back. And I was saying, he never said that. I don't know where she heard all this, but poor Lisa got it into her head that I was completely cured. And I was saying, Lisa, that's how rumours spread, don't say that. But she was terribly excited. So that was a great thing, that he could fix me like that. So it doesn't hold me back that much. The only gripe I have, and it's not a vanity thing, is just the weight. I don't like having so much weight on because I don't want to get diabetes. I don't want to get varicose veins. I want to be healthier than I am, so I'm working on that. But everything else, as I said, I think God gives you the crosses that you can carry. I worry more about my husband and my kids and my mum, I suppose, than anyone else. I don't like to be putting any worrying on them. But the kids are great, and Tom gets on with it. You know, he doesn't like the limelight. He'd chew off his arm rather than come in here, put it that way. He's never read the book. He said he's lived it and he doesn't want to go through it again. And I suppose he doesn't want to be upset in front of people. But I have been very blessed with Tom because he's awfully good to me. He's as caring and as good. And once I have them in my life, I have my family and I have my unbreakable faith. And I just want to say it wasn't a newfound faith when I got sick. And there's nothing wrong with people turning to faith when they get sick. I don't want to say that. But my faith would move mountains. It gets stronger every single day. Everything I ask for from God, if it doesn't happen, I know it's not meant to happen for a reason, and I just trust in the will of God. But everything, he looks after me all the time. He nearly speaks to me. I mean, I do have conversations. I wouldn't be I go to Mass a lot and I get a lot out of Mass, but it's not even sitting down every night praying. I talk a lot to God. I treat him as my friend, and I know he knows me. I don't even have to give my surname. He knows well who Olive is at this stage. But no, I do. I feel very, very close to God, and I've always had it. When I was growing up on Dominic Street in Portumna, there was 3 lovely women with 3 young families. And I speak of them all the time because the 3 ladies got cancer and they affected me terrible. I mean, to this day I think about them and I think about their children, and I was so upset. And I was about 9 and I had all these novenas beside my bed, and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed that them 3 women would get better, and unfortunately they didn't, but they were different times than now. But it was funny because one of the families, my best friend, was asked to babysit his kids, so I actually got to be part of their life. In a kind of roundabout way after. So I used to go down and babysit them on a Sunday night, and little Lisa, her name was, she used to have the mummy's teddy in the bed with her. And I said, it's very strange now how I'm battling this myself now, and I'm the mother now looking at my children, but they're great, they're married, and they have children and they've got on with their lives, thanks be to God. But I just think it's tough when the mother is the heart of the home, and my home was always such a happy place, and I want that for my kids. I was in bed one Friday, I don't be sick that often, but one Friday I was in bed and they converted a bedroom downstairs for me when I came back from the hospital because I can't climb the stairs. And then the kids were going into school and they were saying Mammy's room and Daddy's room, so I said I better call it something else. So we call it the healing room now. So I was inside in the healing room lying on the bed, and the kids were playing in the hall, and Tom came out and he said, come in, your mother is sick. And I tell you, it was like I got an eye. It was just, I found it so a difficult thing. A Friday evening, when kids should be coming home to a happy home at the weekend, Mammy is sick, just sounded terrible. So I crawled out of the bed, and I wasn't well. I crawled out of the bed, hopped into the shower, and I said, you just got to pull yourself together now, and this is for the kids. And I did. I was fine that weekend, and I pulled myself together. No, it's not always easy, and there's times I'd love to have this book off the wall. I'm not always positive, but it's rare enough. It really is. And then just to say about the power of your mind, we have such power in our own, like we have everything in here. We don't even need to search any further. Everything you need is in here, and I guarantee you that. I was brought in, I broke one of my hips through a medication I was on. It hardened my bone so much it had broke a hip. And then I went over to, I'll keep this quite short, I went over to see my mother-in-law that Christmas, and I brought all the junk out of the house because I was eating too much junk. And my husband and the kids ran into Granny. It was my husband's mother. And when I got out of the car, my sister-in-law let out her new dog, and I didn't know the dog, and the dog chased me, and I ran, and I fell, and I broke the other hip. I was in the middle of the road, bingo was about to start, and I said, I'm going to be run over now by somebody going to bingo, and that'll be the end of Olive. Couldn't get off the road. Eventually, I got myself into the Jeep. Tom came out to get an eating, and nearly ate him without salt. Why didn't you come out? And he said, gee, I thought you were on the phone to your mother. And I said, I'm after falling. And he goes, oh, sweet jeez. And I said, the hip. I said, I'm definitely hurt. So I had to be brought into the hospice for 2 weeks to keep me from getting up because I wouldn't sit quiet for them. So I went in for the 2 weeks, and God be good to my poor uncle, he was beside me, poor Christy, God be good to him, he was beside me. So there were a lovely 2 weeks, but I said to them my kids were in a play, and I had to get out in the middle of the week to see the kids. So they let me out, and I went out as happy as Larry, and my friend was coming home from England. It was near my birthday. My friend was coming home from England, so I came out that morning, and happy as Larry, said goodbye to Christy, and off I went into the Temperance Hall in Loughrea, watched the kids in their play, and came home, and was going back in then to the hospice on the Sunday. And as I was going out the door, my little boy, he's 12 now, he was 11 I suppose at the time, yeah, he'd have been 10 at the time, he said, well, this effing cancer. And I said, John, don't let your father hear you saying that. And he goes, burst into tears. Now, this isn't really him. When we told the kids I had cancer, he shook from head to toe, the poor Devlin. So he was shaking. I knew he was very upset. And I said, John, don't curse, Dad. And I said, Daddy, he'll give out to you for cursing. And he said, I don't want you to go back, Mummy. Please don't go back. Please stay at home. And I said, John, it's only 1 more week. I said, I have tests on Wednesday. If I get out of the system, I'll be put back on a waiting list. I said, I have to go back into the hospital and get my tests. I said, it's all for the better of Mammy. And of course, my little daughter Kate was peeping around the corner, and I didn't want her to get upset. And Tom was going out to the shed at the turf, you know the picture now. It was an awful house. So I said to Fiona, get the bags as quick as ever you can and let me get out of here because I'm upsetting everybody. I left my house in Loughrea By the time I had got to Cropwell, which is about 15 minutes, my whole system had collapsed. I was thrown up. I was running to the bathroom. I went back into the women in the hospice and I'm saying they were sorry they let me out. I was 2 days in the flat on my back. I was not able to move. The negativity just went straight through me. The pain of my poor little child being like that. If he hadn't done it, I would not have been sick. I can guarantee you that much, because I'm a happy person, I'm a positive person. And I think if you can at all, try to see the good in everything. Do you know, I know when I was working and people used to come with problems to the door, I'd say, come with the problem, but come with 3 solutions as well. You know, you have to try and see the good in life, because there's always a reason behind everything. It's hard to see it at the time. Like when you see young people and little kids in there now today going up to be blessed, it's very hard to make sense of it. But we have to trust that there's a reason behind it. And I definitely can't explain it, and I don't want to even go down that road. But all I know is that miracles are happening every day around us, and we're so busy on the treadmill of life, we're not seeing it. And small miracles, but they're all happening. Every miracle, small little things that can bring joy to us if we just let it in. And that's why I'm doing so well. I think I've opened my heart to God, and the faith that I have is absolutely unbelievable. I have such a wonderful faith, and all the lovely people I met here today with wonderful stories, people that are surviving 15, 20, 30 years with cancer. Like I'm stage 4 cancer. It's in my bones. It's going nowhere. Well, you never know. It could go, but I'm managing it. It hasn't. It's been the same way, thanks be to God. And once they can keep watching me, it's every three weeks I go in and I have a little port, and they just wire me up and they give me the chemo. And I head off home again to my family, and it's just part of my life. And I bring in my books and I start writing. And that's where this book came from. Like, as I said, my English teacher, I never got anything over a C in school, so I don't know what he'd be thinking of me writing a book. But the first three chapters, I asked God to help me, and they just literally went on the page for me, and that's as true as God. And then Mammy and myself went to Lourdes, and we were over there, and there was a man there, and he had just the loveliest, kindest face. I don't know what it was, I just thought he was a lovely, kind old man. And every time I seen him, I'd give him the wink and I'd ask him how he was. And he sat beside me one night and he said, will you get the straw there out of my jacket? I didn't take any heed at all. Got the straw from him and chatted away to him, real nice man. So anyway, when we were going, the last day, myself and Mammy were outside taking pictures, and I just gave him a call. I said, will you stand in for a picture with me? No, I had said to Mammy that morning, I said, no one is ever going to read this book. I said, I think I'll just leave it. Who the hell is ever going to want to read this journal? Because I was writing everything down. I was getting a little bit of a writer's block, I think. But anyway, I went down to Andy and I said, will you stand for a picture with me? And he just said, I will. And then he was actually walking off, and I said, you could be Ireland's next top model. You've never seen anyone to turn around and come back and ask me for my address and my email address. And I was kind of thinking, God, he was very, very funny. But then I noticed that he wasn't using his arms. He told me he had motor neurons disease, and he was the oldest survivor in Ireland, and that he had a family of 6. And we got talking then, and he said to me that he often went to bed at night, and he said, old man, fat tears would roll down my cheeks. He said, looking at my wife, how is she going to rear 6 kids on her own? Now, I was doing something last year, and Andy couldn't come because he was after burying his wife. He never thought he'd be burying his wife. He's still alive, God bless him, and he has wrote 2 books with his toes. So when I heard that, I said, back up to my book I'm going, and I'm not going to be cribbing, I'm going to write my book. And he was the inspiration, a lot of it, because I said, if he could do it with his feet, 2 beautiful books he has out, and I still can't think of the names, I was trying to think of them this morning. I'm great advertisement for you, Andy. But he is a lovely, lovely man, and that's what I'm talking about. If I hadn't got cancer, if I hadn't had got this, I would never have had these experiences either. Now, I'm not trying to say like it's not a good thing. Of course it's not a good thing, but it's not all bad. That's why I wrote the second book, actually. It's stories that I've heard. It's all about it's all about other people and what they have told me, because a lot of these stories are going to get lost, and they're lovely, and they need to be heard, and people need to hear them. I met a 70-year-old man a couple of weeks ago, and he said he's the most wonderful family, but he feels so isolated, and he'd love to talk to somebody that has cancer. And we sat the whole day chatting, and like, he has a wonderful family around him, but it's just lovely to have that little bit of support at times, to talk to somebody. And I love to talk, and I absolutely love people, so it's kind of nearly a little gift to be able to come here and talk to people. And like I said, even signing the book there this morning, I could have spent the day here. I met the nicest of people, and everybody has a story, and everybody's story is very important to them. We all have our issues, and a lot of people say to me, I don't want to be complaining to you all of what all you're going through. You know what? everyone has their own little thing, and they're well entitled to talk to me, and there's no problem at all. I'm dealing with it. I'm handling it. If I stay going the next 4 years as good as the last 4 years are, I'll be an extremely happy girl, because I'm beaming with happiness. I did a little bit of a workout yesterday morning. I'm after getting someone to help me with my exercise, and I came in and I said to the kids, I'm almost floating. And Kate said, I think you've lost weight, Mummy. And I said, after an hour, I wish it was that easy. But just to be in my workout gear again, and just to feel like Olive, I don't, people are great to help, but I like to do things myself. I like to be independent for as long as I can be. I'd hate to be a hindrance on people. Like I said, if I get the next 4 years as good, I'll be very, very happy. I'm watching the time now, because I've done my half hour and I don't want to overdo it. I'd like to give people a chance. Yes, lovely. Every 3 months I go in. And yeah, the neck is great, thank you. When I went in the last time, he was more worried about the water retention on my legs. We didn't even really talk about the neck. He said to me, you should go swimming, Olive, you should go swimming. And he goes out to the lake himself, this doctor, and he said, and I said, well, no, I'm not going to go swimming with you, doctor. In all fairness, I'll lose about 3 stone. But he goes out to the lake all the time. But I don't think I'll be able now if I got into the lake. I'm dealing with a broken neck, and I'm dealing with cancer, and like the hips, I broke 3 bones in the leg. I've ribs broke. I break a lot of bones. So I can't be careless either, because you're only putting work on people. But if I could, I'd be doing more. I'd done an 8K run after I had the neck done, and I thought it was a great idea, and they gave out like hell to me when I went into the hospital, and I was really hurt. I was saying, but you think now, they'd say congratulations, but it's only after when I thought about it. I said, I did foolish things in the beginning. I didn't realise, I suppose, how easy it is to break things, and then the hassle you put on everybody bringing in wheelchairs around the house and stuff. I don't want that. But the neck is it's definitely an issue. There's a lot of pain there. I'm in a lot of pain, and my legs go for me. I had about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had 3 falls in 1 week, and right hard falls I got. I went back and hit my head off the ground, and I don't think I told that story this morning, but I read a book. It was called Healing. I think it was a small little book that somebody gave me, and it was about a man that had chronic pain, and he got pain all the time. But anyway, one night he fell, and he said to the wife, get me a crucifix. And he looked down at the crucifix and he said, Jesus, I'll suffer with you in Calvary if you help me now. And his pain went. Now, his pain didn't go long term, but his pain left him that night. And I don't know, it just something resonated with me. I just thought it was a lovely story. And then I went to Lourdes for the 3rd time last year, and Mum didn't come last year with me, so my friend Frances came with me, which was a big responsibility, because Mammy was worried and Tom was worried, but I wanted to go. So all of us shuffling down Lourdes anyway, and I didn't see the step, and I think you could nearly hear the fall in Bertumna. Well, I came down in such a thud, and my leg I said to Frances, get an ambulance, I've broke a leg. And of course Frances was, oh my God, she has bone cancer. And I was saying, oh Frances, would you? And everyone was flocking around me, and I said, oh sweet Jesus. I said, this is terrible. I don't want the attention. I just wanted to just kind of blend in. And poor Frances was, how the hell am I going to bring you home to Tom? Didn't I think of the man? And I said my little prayer, and I leapt up off that footpath, and I went to Mass, and I came back to the hotel, and there was not a bruise nor a mark on me. And that's as true as I'm standing here. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. All them things happen to me all the time, because I know that God is with me, and I'm open to it, and I'm so grateful and so thankful. So, I've had me falls in me little, but the neck, thanks be to God. I mean, them falls I got the other night, in fairness, I fell back. The oven was behind me. The oven got the lower back, which was sore, but inches from the neck, the other handle. And if I had got it, I would have broken my neck again, I'd say. And I don't like to think I don't want to break it again now, in fairness. But the spinal cord, thanks be to God, is cancerous and near that. It's gone down into my spine, and it's gone into my left lung as well. But no, it's not all bad. As long as they contain it, and like I said, I'll drink petrol, and I'll keep praying, and I'll keep talking, and I'll keep positive. And it's working for me, yeah. The surgeon is Dr. McInkeen. He's the man, I'll show you a picture. He's the man, he came out and he launched the book for me. He wrote a little piece there. He's a complete gentleman. He's living out in Ormore, and he's married with 4 children. And he's the orthopaedic surgeon, and he's, let me see, Mr. Aidan Davitt is a consultant orthopaedic surgeon in Galway University Hospital and a clinical lecturer at the National University of Ireland, Galway. He operated on the neck, and then it's, yes, Professor McInkeen then is my oncologist. lovely young men with young families, and I trust them, which is fierce important. You know, I have a great trust in them, and I think you have to trust them. You really do. I was asked to speak in Clifton about a year ago, and I went in to the Merlin Park. I don't know, I think it was because of the broken leg, I think at the time, I'm not even sure. But anyway, I had cellulitis. My leg was like a big block. And I was admitted, and oh my God, I was to go talk in Clifton on the Friday, and this was the Thursday, was it, or something? And Tom said to me, ring the priest and tell him you can't come. But something kept telling me, Olive, don't ring the priest, you can't let him down. And I was going on a drip now. So Tom said, there's no way you're going to be let out of hospital, Olive, to go to Clifton. Tell the priest. I couldn't do it. I just wasn't able to do it. I said, I'll do it in a while, leave me alone, I'll do it in a while. So next thing, I left it. The following morning at 6 o'clock, I got a text message from the lovely priest to say, when you come down, we'll have lunch ready for you. And me inside in hospital, and I said, that's grand, yeah, that's lovely, we'll be down. And next time one of the nurses came in, she goes, they're talking about you on the radio, about Olive Shaughnessy coming to talk in Clifton tonight. She says, what's that about? And I said, just leave it with me. And she goes, he's not going to, now this was a different surgeon, you see, it wasn't my usual surgeon. And he was a little bit older, and I think the kind of called him God Almighty. I think the nurses were afraid of him, but you could hear him coming anyway with his clippy-clappy shoes down the corridor, and I said, what am I going to say to this lad? So he came in and he looked at me in the bed, and he said, how are you today? And I said, I'm good. I said, doctor, I said, I was asked to do a talk in Clifton tonight. I said, will there be any chance, he looked at reading, any chance I could go? He lifted up the glass and he goes, you do realise you have cancer? And I said, I am aware of that all right now, doctor, but I said, I'd love to do it. He goes, oh, not at all. How could you go out and you're on a drip? You're open to infection, not a hope. And I said, oh God, I hate letting him down. I said, would there be any chance if I said a prayer for you? The man lifted up his head and gave me a big smile, and he goes, we'll keep the legs elevated and come straight back after it. And he let me off out to Clifton with my sister and my mother. Well, I was as happy as Larry, so I was hoping I had no choice. We told the priest, and he got up on the altar and he said she's after admitting herself out of hospital to come and talk. But I went back to the hospital that evening, and I was discharged the following morning. I came back and I was as high as a kite. The people I had met over there, the welcome we had got, it's powerful. People are powerful, and prayer is powerful, and even cross doctors and positive thinking is powerful, because I didn't think I'd get around him, but he let me off, and I was very, very happy. I done a makeup course as well when I went through all this, and I went out I was in hospital for a few of them, and I went out with my drip, and I done my makeup course, and I don't let it stop me. I kind of say it's just a label. Olive is not about cancer. It doesn't define who I am. I'm still the same girl. I want to be treated the same way. I don't want people to be avoiding me. And I said that again this morning. You often hear people saying, you know who your friends are when you get this. It was never like that with me. I never realised I had so many good people that came out of the woodwork. People that I hadn't seen in 20 and 30 years from school were coming with their children and their dogs for the walk. They'd done a walk out from me in Kinnadima. There's a picture in the book, Take Your Breath Away. So it was a stream of people, and a stream of people with smiles on their faces. It was a really happy day. I was just discharged the day before, and nobody thought I was going to come to it, but I said wild horses wouldn't have kept me away. And when I came down the road, all the roads were blocked off. And I had the kids, and Tom was driving, and they stopped me and I said, you can't come down here now. And I said, I won't be able to walk. I said, I'm Olive. It's Olive. And they were on the microphones, and she's come, Lord. I was mortified. All the people that were on the microphones, and when I got out of the car, everybody was looking at me, and I just wanted to vanish. In fairness, I was mortified. But it was just the loveliest day. Everybody was in powerful spirits. Like I said, dogs, animals, cats, people. The parish priest told me that people that never came outside the door in 20 years came and done the walk that day for me. And I often said, I don't even know, even it's 4 years on, and I still go into Loughrea and people are stopping and telling me they're praying for me. I'd be saying to Tom, I can't understand how people are so kind, and I think it's because of my children. I think it's the 4 small little innocent, beautiful little kids that people are just so behind us. They prayed for us all the time in school. And then when I came home, Luke, the little blondie little boy here, said, stop praying for her now, she's home, you can stop praying now. So that was the end of my prayers, yeah. So they like the limelight to a certain, they don't want to be highlighted either as mummy with, but there's other ladies now in the school with cancer as well, it's not, I'm not the only one, but we're all positive mummies together, and we try and keep the spirits up, So actually there's one lady that got fierce bad news that Christmas. Am I going on too long? Should I stop? Yeah. If there's any questions.
Just because
Never stirred a bit. It has caused me no problems at all, thanks be to God. There's not a talk of it. They never mention it at all. It is more the neck. It's more the retention. They don't. You go in and I get the good news, and when I get the good news, I'm out the door like a bat out of hell. Once they tell me I'm fine, I'm gone. I never question. Dr. McInkeen has about 80 people to see, if not 100, when I go in. So I never wait to see him. I say, once the doctor tells me I'm okay, I said, I don't need to waste your time. There's other people that might need him, and I'm gone like a shot for the next 3 months. So thank you for asking, but yeah, it hasn't stirred. Yeah.
So any questions here?
I am. I have a lot of pain now, to be honest with you. But I'm used to it. And you know what? I'll deal with the pain as long as that cancer doesn't move. I am in pain. Lower back, up here where the operation was, and down my legs. But I really believe if I lose a little bit of weight, it's going to help me. I firmly believe that. I have to take ownership on that. I eat very healthy, but it's all the old treatment and all. But I am working on it. Please God, I'll be here again, a little bit slimmer. I think if I lost the weight, I wouldn't be falling so much. It's hard to balance, and there is pain, yeah, there is. No point saying there isn't, but like I said, I will deal with it, and as long as I'm not a hindrance on anybody, that they don't have to be lifting me, or, as long as I can do things myself, I'm okay, yeah.
Yeah, we just have maybe about 10 minutes, so what I might suggest is that her book is here on sale, so maybe we might close it now, and if anybody wants to get the book, or have a brief chat with her, okay, but I'll have to rescue her because we have to be over by 7 in the parochial house. So thanks very much again.
My pleasure.
Excellent.
My pleasure.
And really inspiring and uplifting. So, and of course, you will very much be in our prayers, as will Mother, of course.
Yeah.
The power behind the throne.
Absolutely.
Always.
And I might just say one little thing. My mum never drove a car until I was diagnosed, and she's after getting her car, her full licence, and she drives over to me every day to help me. So, she's a wonderful, wonderful mother.
Miracles to happen.
Yes.
So, in case anybody wants a chat with her very briefly, maybe we'll give that little bit of space. And if anybody might like to get the book as well. So thanks very much.
Thank you,
Glory
Father.
be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. So it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, everybody. Thanks.